Yeah, hello, I'm Terry. I'm your host for this segment. We're going to talk about the Trump question. What is the Trump question? Well, the Trump question is Donald Trump the Antichrist? We've called him many things. We called him Nazi. We called him racist. We called him all these different terms and everything. But now the new term is a king. And some of y'all do participate in the No Kings rally. I get it. I get it. You're mad at Donald Trump because maybe you think he's militarizing the country, but past presidents have used the National Guard also, just so you know that. But I don't think he is. All right. Question I want you to really consider before I move on. Is your politics greater than people? What do you cherish more, people or politics? The reason I brought that up, we got these cities where disproportionately Black and Latinos are subject to crime. And it seems like nobody cares about it. Seems like it. These municipalities and these mayors are not doing nothing about it. And they'll talk about this one particular mayor who's short 2,000 police officers and has a budget deficit over $1 billion, talking about cutting more, got 150 police officers on the security detail. But yet and still, you got one weekend, our numbers are down. But then one Labor Day weekend, you had 58 shootings and 8 get killed. Our numbers are down, Come on. I'm just saying. I cherish people. I think people are the most valuable commodity. When God created the heavens and the earth and all these planets and stars and everything, his greatest creation was mankind by far. Ain't no second. But that's just me. I cherish life. Okay. So I'm not one of these people that are gonna say no to somebody who they're trying to give me a hand up. I'm not that person. I don't like him. I ain't gonna accept it. Think about it. What's more important to you? Politics or people? Enough of that. Okay. So is Donald Trump the Antichrist? So the term Antichrist comes from the Bible. So we have to go to the Bible to find out what that term exactly means. So let's go ahead and look in the Bible and see what it says here about the Antichrist here. So let's go in the Bible and we're going to look right here. We're at 1 John 2, and it says, little children, it is the last hour. And as you have heard that the Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have came, by which we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that none of them were of us. Now, real quickly, those two first verses. One thing, they're talking about the Antichrist. Remember, this is the first century. So first century, just John, who later wrote the book of Revelation, one of the beloved disciples, so many scholars called him. But so he's close to Jesus. So this is him writing. He's talking about the Antichrist. But then he also talking about Antichrist. So there's Antichrist and there's Antichrist. The Antichrists are just spirits of the Antichrist. That's what he's talking about. And then he's talking about at the last hour. They were under the impression at that time that Jesus was coming right back. Okay. Now remember, 1 year is like a day, and a day that 1 year's 1 year's like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day to God. So he could come anytime. Okay. We'll talk about that later. Okay. But let's go down to verse 22 and look what it says here. For it is, who is a liar, but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ. He is Antichrist. Who denies the Father and the Son? Whoever denies the Son does not have the Father either. He who acknowledges the Son has the Father also. Boom, there it is right there. That's your termination of the Antichrist. He is a denier of the Christ, which is the Messiah. He's a denier of the Messiah. He's a denier of Jesus Christ. He's a denier of Jesus. And notice how it says, if you deny the Son, you also deny the Father. And the reason why that's important, because many people that live in now, that say, well, I believe in God, but I just don't believe in Jesus like that. I don't think Jesus was I know there was a God, but I just don't believe Jesus. Okay. That's Antichrist. That's Antichrist spirit. That's what they're saying right there. That's the Antichrist spirit. So we got to be careful when we call people Antichrist. We got to be mindful of that. And there's some other things within the context of the spirit of the Antichrist. So let's go ahead and look in First John chapter 4. And it says, beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits whether they're of God, because many false prophets has gone out into the world. By this you know that the Spirit of God, every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come into the flesh is of God. Did you see that right there? That's what it says. Every spirit that comes into the flesh confesses that Jesus is God. And it's also, again, test the spirit, okay? Yeah, let's talk about false prophets. We have many false prophets in 2025. Think about it. You go to these services, you got these prophets, and I believe in prophets. I believe it's called the fivefold ministry. He gave some apostles, some prophets, some pastors, some evangelists, and some teachers for the perfecting of the saints. I believe in that. But I also believe that there's many people here that get caught up in the celebrity. See, people want to be liked. Y'all know the prophets, a lot of prophets in the Old Testament, even going up to John the Baptist, they weren't liked. Did y'all know that? Why? Because they were convicting people of their evil deeds. That's what the prophets did. Oh, yeah, they did miracles here and there. But what it was, they would tell you, they'd say, oh, here comes the seer. And they were kings. Oh, here come, he never profited anything good about me. You know, they're kings because they came and they were telling you, repent, get right. Don't sleep with your brother's wife. That's kind of stuff they would say, you know. So the 2025 prophets in America are different. Okay. They're just different. Okay. And I'll try not to stay on that too long. 2 John 7th verse. For many deceivers has gone out into the world who do not confess Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh. This is a deceiver and an antichrist. Look to yourself that we do not lose those things what we work for, but that we may receive a full reward. Y'all see that? So again, they're talking about many deceivers out in the world. They're talking about these deceivers are out here, that they're deceiving many people. That's what they're talking about right there. So there's deceivers. And that's what happens. A lot of people say stuff, not because they say it because they're mean, or they're just being deceived. Okay. That's all it is. They're being deceived, y'all. And they can't help it, you know? And that's what happens. I get deceived. I pass on deception to the next person. That's what happens. These false prophets out here. Notice. Man, you got these preachers out here. Oh man, I'm gonna get started. You got these preachers here. They come up with all these titles for themselves, you know. And I'm not saying I'm not against all that. I'm just saying, I mean, come on, chief prophet to the left prophet and the super duper apostle. I'm the chief apostle and all. These are the titles. So when a person say they chief apostle, they're telling you they're over all apostles on the planet. Well, how many chief apostles do they got on the planet? So all y'all sharing in that leadership. See, these are the things that, you know, and I get it. I get it. I'm not belittling people's achievements. I'm just saying you got to be careful nowadays. Okay. You got to be careful. So let's get back to the scripture real quick and let's see what we got here. All right. Back to the scripture. Matthew, the 24th chapter. Now, those last two scriptures in John actually gave you the Antichrist words. These next couple scriptures are Antichrist is implied. You know, implied. Okay. So this is Matthew 24. This is Jesus talking. Then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great things and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. What Jesus is saying there, you got to be careful. That's what he said. You got to watch. Because this deception's out here. That's what he's saying. That's what I was just getting into. Deception is out here. You could be easily deceived. By the way, there's another text. I have it here. It's not there, but it says, Jesus Christ also said, wide is the way to lead to destruction. Many find the way thereof. Narrow is the way to life. You know, in 2025, everybody saved. You know, everybody saved. That's what these preachers tell you. Everybody ain't going to be saved. Bible don't teach that. Jesus never said that. Bible do not teach that, y'all. But that's what people are doing nowadays. Okay. So let's go back here. Now let's look here. That's Matthew 24, 23. Let's go to Revelation. Now this was getting interesting. We're almost done. Revelation 13:1. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon is the devil, gave him power, his throne, and great authority. Look at that right there. Now, remember, this is something in context. By the way, and I would say those of y'all been out here and y'all heavily in prophecy, more power to you. I am not. I'm just reading this. I call this channel From the Pew. I'm giving you a broad spectrum of the interpretations, but I've heard many prophecy preachers talk in the years I've been in the church. One will say this, the other one will say that, the other one will say that. I'll believe that one for a little while. I believe that one for a little while. But here's the real deal. And I don't care how many seminary degrees you got. Nobody really knows. All this stuff is symbolisms. There's a lot of symbolism in here. Remember this. John the Revelator was in the 1st century. God's opening up to him all this vision. And what he's how he's talking what he saw and trying to bring it into terms that he understands. He's in the 1st century. Imagine you're in the 1st century and God reveals stuff to you that happened in the year 2050. Think about it. How are you going to describe it? You don't know what a car looked like. You don't know what a helicopter looked like. You understand what I'm saying? You don't know what that is because they didn't exist. So a lot of symbolisms here. But real briefly, I'll go over a little of this. When they talk about I stood on the sand of the sea and I saw the beast rising up out of the sea, that is symbolic of rising up out of the midst of the earth, rising up from us, rising up from the systems, in other words. In other words, this beast, this individual who's the Antichrist is going to come up out of the people. That's what they're basically saying here. And then when they talk about the 10 horns and this 10 horns, the 7 heads, 10 horns, we're going to get into that here a little shortly. Okay. And let's look here. And it says in verse 3, and I saw one of the heads, if it had been mortally, key word is mortally, wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marveled and followed the beast. Now, some people say that's Donald Trump. It ain't Donald Trump. Let me ask you a question, because he wasn't mortally wounded, by the way. He was clipped in the ear. But anyhow, let me ask you a question. And a friend brought a good point up to me. He said, why would the devil use an 80-year-old man? Think about what I'm saying there. He typically copies what God does. So the Antichrist is going to typically probably be a younger fellow, okay? That's probably what he's going to be, is a younger, not an 80-year-old man, okay? Not an 80-year-old man. Donald Trump ain't the Antichrist. And I got a Christian worldview, and I'm a little swayed, but he's not the Antichrist. Now, I'm going to show you a video after all this, and you'll see what he says, okay? And look at here. So they marvel, they worship, this is verse 4, they worship the beast who gave authority. They worship the dragon, who's the devil, who gave authority to the beast, the Antichrist, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And he was given a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given authority to continue for 42 months. That's 3.5 years. Okay, so that's what he's talking, all this stuff. They're very good with speeching, can get out there and talk. He's going to say all kinds of stuff. People are going to be amazed on him. Now, real quickly, some of this, now understand, not trying to stay on this too long. Some of the stuff in Book of Revelation, when John the Revelator was writing, he was on a Isle of Patmos, and I guess God had to get him away from all those people so he could get this revelation, this vision. Understand this, during that time, that was during the time of, the Caesars and typically Nero. And so some of it is symbolic, and some of his point, it's historical and it's symbolic and it's future. It's the same. I mean, the Bible's a great book, I'm telling you. So some of it's Nero, okay? Because Nero, those Caesars, they would get up there and say some blasphemous thing. They could speak, and people be sitting there looking at them, amazed at the way they way they talked, because some of the Caesars kind of thought they were gods. Okay, just saying. So that's some of that, but it's also future tense here. And it says here in verse 7, it was granted to him to make war with saints and to overcome them, and authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. That's all kingdoms, all countries, all ethnic groups. That's what they're saying here. And all who dwell on earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of the life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. He who leads into captivity shall go into captivity. He who kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Bottom line, he's going to get his just due. That's what they're saying here. Okay. It's also he's going to leave everybody in captivity. Okay. Everybody be subject to this beast. Okay. Everybody's going to be subject to this beast. All right. So y'all see that, right? So real quickly, let me move it down to the next scriptures here, so y'all can see this. All right, so let's move it on down, and we're going to the last piece of scriptures here, which everybody, y'all, I know when y'all see these scriptures here, boy, this gets all spooky to a lot of people when we get to reading these last scriptures here. It gets kind of spooky, don't it? Okay, let's look here. All right, so Revelations 12th verse, 13th chapter, 12th verse. Then I saw another beast coming out of the earth. Now notice it's another one. It's another beast. Now you remember there was a beast coming. Now here comes another beast. And he had two horns like a lamb and smoked like a dragon. And he exercised all the authority of the first beast in his presence and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Now this second beast is a religious leader. He is the false prophet. So you got the Antichrist and you got a false prophet. That's you got these two exercise, and look what he does. And he exercised all the authority of the first beast in his presence and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. So that's what he's doing. He's making everybody's telling me, hey, you need to worship him. In some sense, he's building this person up and the people to worship him. Okay. He performs great signs. We're in verse, I think verse 15. Verse 13. He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven and earth on the earth in the sight of men. Now, get this. We got all these different technologies. I don't know what that is. I don't know how John looked at it. He could have been looking at a nuclear bomb. He could have been looking at any kind of thing. We don't know. Some kind of super hydrogen bomb. He could have been looking at anything, right? Okay. So we don't know, but that's what John saw. Okay. All right. Then verse 14, and he deceives those, there go deception again, who dwell on the earth by those signs which was granted to in the sight of the beast. Okay. In sight of the Antichrist, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image in the beast who was wounded by the sword and lived. He was, verse 15, he was granted great power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many in the world as would not worship the beast to be killed. The image of the beast. Now, again, think about technology. We got all this great technology, and then we got the robotics and stuff like. I'm not saying it's robotics. I don't really know what it is, but I just think about what John saw in the first. Did he see robotics? Could have been some kind of robot, some new kind of artificial intelligence. I don't know. But these things, you see why I'm bringing all this stuff up. You see how far along we didn't come with what man has created and what we're doing. And Jesus could come through those clouds at any moment. Any moment, y'all. Any moment. I don't know when he's coming. Nobody knows when he's coming. Now, here's the one that everybody gets spooked by. And I'm going to talk about it. He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on the right hand or on their foreheads, that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding, calculate the number of the beast. For it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Mark of the beast, y'all. Mark of the beast. But let's look at that real quickly. Notice what they're saying here. This is another reason. This is a big reason why Donald Trump is not the Antichrist. Notice you got a false prophet. You got a false prophet. You got a false prophet. You got the Antichrist. You got this. You got no one can buy, sell, or trade. You got nations aligning together and everything, because if you control all the trade, that means you control all the economy. Now, what controls the economy? Governments control the economy. Now, right now, of course, the world exchange is the U.S. dollar, but that's not what they're talking. We exchange on the U.S. dollar because it's more stable money on the planet. But most scholars believe that there's going to be a one world currency. We see a type of that in Europe with the euro dollar. These countries got together, right? And what they did was they came up with a currency. Now, remember they talk about 7 heads? Well, 7 heads, if we went to, I think it's Revelation 17, they talk about the scarlet. I think it's Revelation 17. But they talk about the scarlet. The scarlet that ruined the whole world, and everybody was ruined because of the scarlet. The 7 heads were the seven heads is 7 mountains where this scarlet sits. That's a representation again of Rome. Okay, Rome. I'm just saying that's what it is. It's a representation of Rome. And the other part are kings and kingdoms, or other things when they talk about the horns and all. These are kings and kingdoms, rulers and stuff like that. That's what that's representing. But here's what I want y'all to get with, because I'm almost done. The mark of the beast. If you go look it up in some interpretations, 666 is to stick or to pluck. Okay. Right now we have technology. Everybody talking about chips. We got nanotechnology now. Nanotechnology. It's these things are so small they could go into you like almost like liquid. You feel me? Like liquid, little smaller than chips. Smaller than chips. All right. We got this nano. Think about it. You remember when you were growing up? Your mom and you'll be doing something. You tell your mama, well, little Johnny doing it. And what would your mama say? She'd say, if little Johnny jump off the cliff, will you jump off the cliff with him? How many of y'all remember that? I'm an old guy. Maybe younger people don't know nothing about that. But the whole point is questioning, why are we following everybody? It seems like if somebody does something, we do the same thing. I'm telling you, y'all got to be careful with this stuff. I'm telling you right now, be careful. Okay, because what happens is going to happen is, this is me talking. It's just what I believe. I don't think nobody, when the Antichrist come, you people who get left behind, and hopefully I don't get left behind, because there's going to be a rapture. God can come up and pull out his church, right? Then he'll come back and make war. But here's the thing. You're not going to fight that. They control all the industry and everything. You're going to go ahead and take that mark, right? And you're going to take it willingly. And you ain't going to have no fight in you about it. You know why? Because we don't fight about the right stuff right now. We're confused people. We're bewitched. We're bewitched. And we don't even know it. We upset over the craziest stuff. We upset, oh, I'm mad at terrorists. These countries have been charging the United States 25% tariffs for decades. We charge them 5, 6, 7%. Y'all mad about that? That's like somebody taking money, coming to your house. They taking your lunch money every day, and then when somebody say, I'm gonna have the bully stop taking your lunch money. No, don't do it. Keep letting them take my money. You prefer the bully to keep taking your lunch money. This I mean, it's just crazy how we think nowadays. Left is right, up is down, everything's sideways. Men think they women, women think they men. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. People don't want to be identified with the human race, so they say they are a tree. You know, this is the kind of stuff we doing. I talked about it, and I don't want to talk about it. I think some of y'all smoking government weed. Too much government weed. That's what's going on with y'all. Well, tell me what you think. Give me your thoughts. Oh, before I do that, let me pull up one thing. I want to pull up one more video, okay? So I'm going to go in here and pull up another video, okay? Let me go in here. Okay, I'm going to pull up one more. I'm going to share the screen with, I want y'all to see this, and then we're going to be done. All right. All righty. And I want y'all to see that. Tell me what you think. Okay, let me play that real quick.
Jesus wants to be Lord of your life. Prayer changes hearts and transforms lives. It uplifts the soul, inspires action, and unites us all as one nation under God. Our country was founded on prayer. Our communities are sustained by prayer. And our nation will be renewed by hard work, a lot of intelligence, and prayer.
So, ain't Donald Trump the Antichrist? Give me your comment. Thank you, and God bless you.